The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Getting to Know You. My name is Joe Nash. Today we're going to be talking to Kristen Holler. She is the executive director of the Albany Barn, Inc., right down in the heart of, it's Arbor Hill, that's right, Arbor Hill, the old St. Joseph's Academy. It is now, I guess you'd call it an artist's colony or something? I don't know. Well, welcome anyway.
We like to call it a creative arts incubator.
Creative arts incubator. Artists can live and or rent space there. You have all kinds of artists, musicians, sculptors, writers. And I was going to ask you about artists getting a place, apartment there, but you're telling me they're all full. So why don't we, before we talk about the big event, which we're mainly here today, the Fusion 2014, Friday night, October 17th at 6 o'clock, why don't you give us a little rundown on what the barn is and how you filled up so fast, I guess.
Absolutely. So Albany Barn is a not-for-profit, and this project, our building called the Barn, is sort of two-part. On one side of the building, we have residential spaces, and those are operated in partnership with the Albany Housing Authority, and we offer affordable live-work spaces to artists who essentially go through a two-part selection process. The first part is with a panel that we've convened called an artist selection committee, made up of more well-established regional artists, arts professionals, things like that. And they go through a screening to essentially determine what they're doing as creative professionals and what their goals are. And then once they pass that portion of the selection process, they go on to do an income qualification and actually be fully selected for an apartment. So we are full right now. However, we are continuing to take applications because you just never know.
Yes, it'll be on the website. You can find out all about it. It's albanybarn.org. But before we talk about the Fusion, you've only been open a year. How did and you said all 22 apartments are taken? How did they just go right away, or what kind of artists do you have down there?
I think we knew that there's a well-documented need.
Okay. That's why you were here telling us that before.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been, a need for affordable, quality working space and living space for, sort of the creative class, if you will. Those folks who are trying to make it in the creative arts, if we put them in a situation where they have to pay market rate rent, they're likely going to have to, at least while they get started, work some unrelated jobs, those sort of stereotypical starving artist jobs, bussing tables, bartending.
Their art will suffer, I guess.
Exactly. Well, it leaves them less time
Yes.
And attention and energy to focus on their art. So we knew going into this that there was a significant need, and there was also a desire in the Arbor Hill community to connect the neighborhood to arts and culture. And so a sort of natural partnership was formed with the Albany Housing Authority as they looked to, figure out the best adaptive reuse of St. Joseph's Academy. They're very progressive in wanting to create not just affordable housing, but neighborhoods of choice. And so we kind of formed that partnership and started, doing outreach to get interested people.
So who's down? I mean, you don't have to give me the complete rundown, but who's there? You got writers, you got musicians, you got sculptors, you got a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. And the interesting thing that I'm finding is that most of the folks who live in the building practice in a variety of mediums. So they have one that's sort of their main focus area, and then they dabble in others.
Okay.
So we have musicians, we have quite a few writers, some graphic artists, videographers, performers. We have a stand-up comedian, keeping everybody laughing. So we have a really great range.
The other thing, quickly before we get to the Fusion, artists can actually rent space down there to do their work, but that is also full. But how does that work in case people want to get on the waiting list for that?
Absolutely. So we have work studios that are available, and all of the artists that currently rent space with us kind of use them in different ways. So we have some folks who are using it as office space to launch a creative-based business. So we have a multimedia lab. We have a graphic designer. We have a couple of photographers who have photography studios. We have a full recording studio. So those folks are actually running small businesses out of their spaces at the barn. And then we have others who, nonetheless creative professionals, but really use their spaces solely as workspaces to create, paintings or jewelry or sculpture, any of those number of things. And then we also have rehearsal suites for musicians, and those actually rotate on an hourly basis. So those technically wouldn't be full, but a musician could call and make a reservation for a rehearsal time, and that way you're only paying for a studio while you're using a studio, and you don't necessarily have to put out more money.
It sounds like everything being full, sounds like it's exceeded your expectations.
I think we knew going in pretty well that we were going to have a great, great response and a lot of need. I think the needs of artists kind of changed, though, and so when we started talking about this, 8 years ago, we were seeing people clamoring for a dark room.
Yeah.
Well, now everybody uses digital photography, and so the need for a dark room was kind of, pushed aside, and we saw people wanting, somewhere to fire pottery. Well, now there are a couple of different pottery collectives throughout the capital region, and so that wasn't such a need. So what we were really finding was people needed quality, really affordable maker space, places they could just come in and do their work.
And we will get to the Fusion here in 1 second. Before we get to the big event Fusion, I noticed you can go on albanybarn.org. During the year, you have all kinds of, I guess, what would you say, classes, performances, a wide variety. Your calendar is pretty full there. What kind of events do you have?
We have a really great variety of events. There's sort of something for everyone, and we're also trying to expand what we're doing. So if you're a person who wants to put on an event or run a class or a workshop, highly encourage you to go on our website and apply. But currently we have weekly, we have yoga, we have watercolor instruction, we have painting and drawing class, and we also have African dance and fitness classes.
All right. Is your stand-up comedian going to be giving anything on how to tell jokes?
Well, we are actually working on a youth program that would focus on that. But the stand-up comedian, Dwayne Murphy is his name, he actually MCs our open mic night, which happens the fourth Tuesday of every month.
Oh, you have an open mic night for comedy or sing?
It's a little bit of everything. You can sing, you can tell jokes, you can come up on stage and eat a turnip if you want.
Are they well attended?
They are pretty well attended.
Okay.
We find a lot of young people from the neighborhood have an interest in the recording arts and will come and sort of preview their music with us.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot going on down there. So, Friday, October 17th, 6 p.m., your big event. It's called Fusion. This is Fusion 2014. Before I get into every single event here that's going on tonight, just give us what is Fusion?
So Fusion is really the biggest fundraiser that Albany Barn does for ourselves, I guess, every year. And it is essentially a really fun cocktail party that is meant to highlight what is going on in the local art scene, to get people excited about what's happening and to, raise funds
Not just
to
at the
support
barn,
it.
but in
general,
Albany.
we really try to show and highlight kind of what's going on, what's happening in the art scene. So, and let people get a brief glimpse of sort of the creative process. We always try to bring that to the table.
So you're having, I noticed your events here, tickets are $75. You can get a discount. If you go on the website, it'll explain it all. But you're having cocktails and food, regional artists. You're having a designer challenge. You have this food here looks really good. Food and drinks. You got stuff from Empire Wine, Albany Distillery, the the Druthers Brewing Company. Where are they in Saratoga?
They are up in Saratoga now, but they're actually opening a location in downtown Albany, which is very exciting.
And coffee by the Stax Espresso Bar right there on Lark Street.
Absolutely.
You're having jazz playing for a while, and later on, you're having a DJ. Now, I want to make sure I get the name right. They're called Space, Time, and Space Time.
Yes, they are. That is their name.
So while people are milling about, having drinks, and enjoying the art, what kind of art and what artists are going to be there? It says art installations by and regional artists. They're going to have their work showing in the big area? Or
Sure, yes. So because we love the culinary arts under our creative arts umbrella, I will highlight
That's right, I forgot.
that our
Chef Rick Orlando, who
Yes.
won Chopped, is going to be, okay, I'm sorry. I
Chef
forgot
Rick
him.
Orlando designed a custom menu for this event that is phenomenal. He is creating all of our signature cocktails and really having a hand in making the food a real
does he work at a
experience.
local restaurant?
He is the executive chef and co-owner of New World Bistro Bar.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
also operates New World
Okay.
Home Catering.
All right, so he'll be doing all the food and drinks?
Yes.
Okay.
So the other art that we are featuring is this year we have issued sort of a designers challenge. We have 4 local designers, fashion designers, who have signed on to create an outfit that is inspired by an iconic building or business that has existed throughout Arbor Hills history. So we're really trying to pay homage to the neighborhood where we are and showcase ways in which the history of the neighborhood can really inspire a really vibrant
Okay.
future. So those completed looks will be on display on live models throughout the event. Studio Orlo is providing hair and makeup styling, so they will be, sort of fully done up for everyone to see. And also a video will be shot while they're creating their garments to show their creative process, and that'll be featured throughout the event as well.
You didn't do this last year, did you?
We did a small fashion component last year in which we actually had a designer team of 2 designers that constructed a garment live during the event. So this is sort of a bigger version of that. We've expanded it. And
All right,
added
well, I'll
more
mention their
designers.
names. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what they're going to be doing. We have Sylvia Robinson Jordan, Lakeisha Motley, Katie Prey, and Michael, is it Maiello?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what they're doing. And on the website, on all the 4 people I just mentioned, if you click on their name, it brings you to their work. So some of them have got some wild stuff there.
They have some really great dynamic work.
So each of the 4 of them has taken what, a building or a place
Yes.
that was in Arbor Hills history, and I think I have them here, Mike's Log Cabin and Grill. And none of these places are around anymore, are they?
The only ones that still exist in some way, but in a different capacity, are obviously St. Joseph's Academy exists now as the barn, and what used to be Franzie's Market is still open, but under different ownership.
Okay,
and a
so
different
there's
name.
Mike's Log Cabin and Grill, Franzie's Market, the Arbor Theater, and what was the other one here? The St. Joseph's Academy.
St. Joseph's
building.
Academy.
So the place, and they're using old photographs and things like that.
Old photographs, anecdotal kind of
Okay.
stories about the place.
So each place is going to inspire what, a look, I guess you could say?
Yes, they're challenged to design a full outfit that is inspired in some way by these historic buildings, whether it be the architecture, the time period that they existed in, sort of their function, what kind of business operated there, et cetera.
All right. So now, have you seen anything yet? Can you give us a sneak?
I have seen their
Like, what are-
design concepts. I have not seen any garments made yet, but I've seen the concepts. It's very exciting. And these are tremendously talented designers with really interesting vision and very unique. Each of them has their own unique style. And so I think that the 4 looks will
I'm
be
thinking,
very different.
like I just said, if you go to the website, albanybarn.org, and you go to the section that we're talking about now, and you click on each of these 4 designers, you can see a lot of their work. So I'm thinking they may come up with some, I don't know what they're going to come up with, but
Some really interesting
should be-
stuff.
it
It
should
will
be
be
very-
great. Yeah,
okay.
I'm very excited about
So-
this.
so that'll be going on during the whole fusion. I guess they have to events. It's called fusion.
Right,
So they're
that'll
gonna
be going on throughout the event. There will be an installation in which each of the the models will come out and present the look, and then the video
Okay.
that showcases kind of the process of the challenge, that'll be
Okay.
showing throughout the evening. And so we also have a couple of other installations that'll be going on. We have one of our artists in residence, Emily Dorr, who is a phenomenal collage artist, is
Okay.
actually doing a live collage installation that'll be based on a changing city skyline. And so throughout the evening, guests will be able to see her collage installation sort of change and grow and evolve, just like
Oh, she's going to be
the
putting
city
it up
in our neighborhood.
as the event goes on.
Absolutely. Mhm.
And is that the main? Are there other artists going to be
There are
displaying
others.
that night? or-
We'll have a solo exhibition that will not be changing or moving throughout the event by Kater and Laura, and a live painting installation by Dana Owens. Both of
Okay.
them are also residential tenants at the barn.
Now, I saw last year's event was sold out. So apparently, I know you have limited size down there. What would you recommend for people to get on the website and just get a ticket right away? Or
I would absolutely recommend that they go and get their tickets right away. This year's event is, far and away kind of the biggest that we've put together thus far. We've brought in a lot of great partners, and it should be a really exciting event, and it will sell out. So
And how many people can you hold down there? Is it several hundred?
we can hold about 400.
And then I should say, because you're having jazz playing and when all this is going on, then you're going to have the DJs. It says DJs from 8 p.m. to ... So I guess they could go.
We don't like to end a party if people are having fun.
Well, just judging by looking at the pictures from last year in the Times Union, they had a whole bunch. It looked like it was very fun, and it says here the dress is cocktail attire. So is there a dress code? What does that mean?
There's not really a dress code. We kind of say less formal than semi-formal, but not too casual.
Okay.
So we like to leave it open to interpretation.
All right, so this is Friday, October 17th, starting at 6 p.m. It looks like it's going to be quite the evening, and with all this, you can go to the website to read about it. So so this is your big event. What is going to be upcoming after this, say after the fall? Yeah, what's going to be coming up for you guys? Anything to...
Well, we are continually kind of expanding what we're doing. So we're adding new programs, new classes. We'll be doing a couple of different after-school programs. One called Lyrical Leaders. We're going to be working with high school students. Basically pairing them up with a few different artists, a songwriter and a multimedia artist, learning about music composition, writing lyrics that sort of have that are socially responsible, I guess, and get out sort of a greater message. And those students will actually be able to record their work, create album art. It'll really be a full experience.
So since you've been going for a year now, how has the city and the neighborhood sort of responded to you guys being there? What's been the response?
I think for the most part, people are really optimistic. People are happy to see, this kind of activity going on. Especially, so many people had a really significant connection with St. Joseph's Academy. Either they went there, for school, or they boxed or played basketball there when it was a rec center as part of the City of Albany's recreation program. And so I think that this has been long awaited, to see some new life breathed into the building. And so I think people are really optimistic. And I think people still sort of feel that little piece of ownership over the building. They want to be connected to it or do something to be involved, and we really encourage that.
And have you guys started a little trend down that part of the city? Is anything else going on down there that you...
We've sort of been working on talks with a couple of other more well-established artists or creative professionals, working on getting some of the other storefronts that line North Swan Street occupied and back in service to the neighborhood.
Okay, well, I was, somebody else was here, I forgot who it was, but I was reading an article recently how younger people are, this is sort of a nationwide trend, generally speaking, are starting to move back to cities, or they're not going to the suburbs, but either way, You've been reading about that? What do you?
I was actually mentioned. I was part
was
of
it
that
you?
article.
Oh, okay. I knew it was somebody here. But
Yeah, no, I think that, kind of urban infill and a return
Yeah.
to that true urban neighborhood, it's inevitable. I mean, everything is just so much more expensive these days, and young people are coming out of school with a lot of debt, and they're looking for ways to really cut costs in other ways. And whereas driving used to be a leisure activity, it's now become a burden on a lot of people, and so they're looking for walkable cities, and they're looking for places where they can, grab a cup of coffee and a bite to eat and do their light grocery shopping right within their neighborhoods. And I think that we'll continue to see that trend. There's a huge impact downtown movement going on in Albany, and we're really looking to expand the footprint of what is downtown.
what that was you that mentioned that. Now that
It was
well,
me.
anything else you want to add before we finish up here? It's Friday, October 17th, 6 p.m., albanybarn.org. You can find out all about the Fusion event. There's a lot going on. I would encourage you to look up the designers. You can see what they're up to normally, and then how they're going to add to Albany's history. Anything else you'd like to add?
I would just say, this event will be very exciting. There's just a lot of very exciting stuff going on, at the barn, in Arbor Hill in general. I know we've convened a great work group of interested stakeholders and organizations that are working in Arbor Hill. So just, really keep your ear to the ground about what's going on, because some really interesting and exciting things are happening.
And then maybe the next time you come, you'll have some openings in the apartments or for the practice spaces.
Maybe.
So sounds like you really got off to a good start here for the first year.
Absolutely. And buy your tickets for Fusion.
Buy your tickets for Fusion, albanybarn.org. All right, well, thanks, Kristen, for coming.
Thank you
and
so much for
I'm sure we'll see
having
you
me.
again. Sure.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you next time on Getting to Know You.